Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about productization and servitization. Now, I know that those terms can be a little bit strange, but if we think about our go-to-market strategy, if we think about the things that we're going to sell, then we need to come up with a way that drives profit in our organization. If we're going to start selling stuff and you sell it one-off, they're going to buy, they're going to be happy, they're going to walk away, and then you'll never see them again. And all that money and the time and the energy spent trying to get that customer is wasted. You know, you've already spent if not hundreds, if not thousands of dollars trying to get this customer to buy from you. So why would it not make sense to try to get them to buy from you continuously? So when you go to market strategy, you can look at the way you deliver your products and services to create a model where your customer is continually returning to buy the next thing and the next thing, or they're just on a subscription and they get it automatically. So X as a service. Now that could be something that is, like with your product. Let's look at Dollar Shave Club. In the ad itself, they're saying, you don't need to go to the supermarket and pay for a really expensive rocket ship of a razor when you can just get a really cheap one that lasts. And essentially they made an ad and promoted the fact that you would literally just join a subscription for $1 and you would get razors continuously. Now they basically rendered down their branding. They didn't have supermarket placement, but they had a subscription service where you could have these items shipped to you on a regular basis so that you didn't have to worry about anything else. You didn't have to worry about going to the supermarket and choosing the best one or finding this one that works with that blade. You would basically just set up the subscription and receive the deliveries every month. And that's it. You don't have to think about it. That simplicity, not only does it create a easier experience for the customer, it also creates recurring revenue for the business, which makes it so much easier on the back end when you're trying to operationally deliver. You know what your income is going to be in the next month with a pretty good degree of predictability. You know that you don't have to staff up or staff down because it's predictable. You've got a pretty good idea on what equipment you need to buy. You've got a pretty good idea on what hardware or stock you need to retain. And so that just makes business so much easier to run. And as a result, the costs go down dramatically. You don't have all this risk of having to go and hire people to deal with this massive sales period and then fire them all because the next month is quiet. So by having a consistent revenue base, everything then becomes very systemizable, very repeatable, very scalable. And as a result, you can offer a better product or a lower cost product or make more of a profit margin. And so it just makes sense. The other thing too is repeat business can build an improved valuation. So if you're going to go and sell your company, that recurring revenue is going to go into the agreement or the negotiation to say that we've got this much recurring revenue and it's pretty well locked in over the next 6 months, 12 months. And so if someone was to buy this business, they know that they would get that level of revenue out of the company without having to, go to any extra marketing effort, without having to cut expenses somewhere else. They know what they're getting and it becomes much more valuable to a purchaser, particularly if they're going to use it as a building block for other parts in their ecosystem of companies. So to get to the point of recurring revenue, we need to look at our go-to-market strategy and we need to look at how we structure our products and services to end up with a recurring revenue. It could be the way that you market, it could be the way that you package up your deal. It could be that you have a product and now you add a service and now you have something that can just keep rolling out and rolling out. Now, just thinking again about your product mix, not everything has to be X as a service. But sometimes you can introduce some kind of recurring element in and amongst services that are traditionally one-off. And the reason why this is valuable is because it creates a level of base load income that you're going to get. You know that you've got something ticking over every month. Even if you have the worst sales month of your primary product or service and it didn't have a repeating element, that you would have some level of revenue from your repeating elements to cover other expenses. For example, your phone or your internet, because they're a repeating expense no matter how good your sales are in that month. So at least reducing the loss on the downside in between. So like if you had a very seasonal business And let's just say you are a tour company. Tour companies are notoriously season dependent. So it could be that they can only operate in winter, and it's like a snowfield, or they can only operate in summer, like a beach resort or something like that. And maybe they have a recurring revenue component. For example, if you had a particular facility, or you had a quiet time pricing, or maybe you had a membership component where anybody could come and use your facilities in peak season at a discount because they're paying a membership throughout the year. Or perhaps if they pay for use of the facilities, because usually during times when the weather is not ideal for tourism, it might be good as a local venue for a networking event, or for the locals that live there, and they're just going to go about there every day, doesn't matter what season it is. So by having some revenue offset to deal with those quiet times, you're creating an element of revenue that can cover the things that never change. You probably still need your phone, you probably still need your internet, you probably still need your rent, you probably still need some basic maintenance and things that happen on an ongoing basis, no matter what time of year it is. So by having an element of that revenue, not only are we dealing with a cost and a cash flow problem, we're also creating more profitability, because that's now the floor from which your peak season jumps off of. So if you add your peak season, then add whatever that recurring base is to lift everything up, now your profit is so much higher and your loss is so much less. Hence the profit and loss statement, you're going to have both. It's just a fact of business life. Now, one thing to remember in all of this is the relationship that you build with the customer. As soon as you have a recurring relationship and you're delivering value on an ongoing basis, you get to have other conversations. So you might expand your customer value over time because you've been able to connect with them on a regular basis. Maybe you've provided a particular service, and each time you see them, they build a rapport with you. Like if you're delivering something and you walk in and you see them face to face, and you can have a short conversation, and then maybe talk about some other things. Oh, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And that drives product or service expansion. And sometimes you could probably look at maybe introducing adjacent things, or maybe if you happen to be in the home, maybe partnering with some other organizations to provide some level of value. Maybe you leave some flyers or some coupons or something else when you're in store, so that creates an introduction to another similar product or service. Or you can have it lead into other non-recurring services that are of a higher value. Or potentially you're going to leverage that conversation into other conversations by saying, well, we work together on a regular basis. Do you know anybody else? And they're more likely to become a referral partner if they're working with you on an ongoing basis than if it was just going to be a one and done. And you could also offer exclusive deals or exclusive programs for the people that sign up on a regular basis. Providing additional value and keeping people long-term is far more beneficial to your business than anything else that you could do in terms of marketing. So that is productization and servitization. Thank you for watching, and keep an eye out for the next video in the series.